Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 535 based on novel. So let's start. The third pass. When Xiao Yan passed the second barrier and stepped into the third door, his whole body was spinning and everything in front of him suddenly became brighter. Scenes of surging waves rushed towards his face, and his whole body was actually in an endless sea, and the heavy aura that rushed towards him made Xiao Yan's heart slowly shake. Within the sea area, there were countless violent auras, and those terrifying auras completely filled the sea surface of the entire sea area, as if they were waiting here for Xiao Yan. In the air and sea water, there are some strange powers that are constantly flying and shuttle, as if some kind of powerful creature sensed Xiao Yan's breath and is waking up a little bit. This time, is it the water attribute's turn? Xiao Yan's eyes were silent, and he glanced around at will. After searching for nothing, he could only focus his attention on the sea area. Boom! Suddenly, in the center of the originally turbulent sea area, a huge gap suddenly opened, and a roar like a war drum resounded through the sky, and a terrifying aura slowly stepped out from it. Half-step sevenfold reincarnation level. Even if the latter figure has not completely appeared, Xiao Yan can determine the exact strength of this guy by relying on the surrounding aura. I am the guardian of the prison sea gate, the water is dry. In the gap in the sea, a figure slowly walked out. There were countless bright and mysterious water columns emerging around his body, which set off his power to some 3 unreachable levels. This breath alone looked very terrifying. Heart-pounding. At the gap in the sea, a figure wearing dark grey clothes stood in the air, and there was a very heavy feeling on the long grey hair, as if it contained a violent murderous aura. The latter's face was always filled with a faint smile, his eyes were slightly fixed on Xiao Yan, and he gave a slight swipe, as if he could easily see through every swipe in this world. This guy looks extremely ordinary, but he can guard the last level. Anyone can understand that this is definitely a tricky thing. I didn't think you were dead yet. The grey figure's eyes stayed on Xiao Yan's side and smiled faintly. You seem to want me to die. On the contrary, Xiao Yan did not rush to do it. His strength can reach the half-step 7th layer reincarnation level. No matter where he is placed, he can be regarded as a real powerhouse. Maybe this guy will know something. It's not that I want you to die, and a lot of people want you to die. Your appearance has aroused the dissatisfaction of many strong people, and your actions have made them sleepless. Now we are just ordered to take your life. By whom? If you want to know, then beat me first. The grey figure smiled and said, as if he was very confident in his own strength. In that case, let's do it. Listening to the other party's indistinct voice, Xiao Yan snorted coldly, and the terrifying offensive was on full display. Xiao Yan's whole body was surrounded by thunder attributes, fire attributes and other powers, and the dazzling scales emerged, which set off Xiao Yan's body as a half-dragon and half-human. That kind of magnificent body that shakes the sky just looks very shocking. With the blessing of the huge water attribute power all over his body, such a strong posture, his attack seems to be enough to make any strong person feel embarrassed. Then let's fight. Bang bang bang. The grey-clothed figure rolled his palm, suddenly lifted it out of thin air, and quietly pressed down on Xiao Yan's side. At the same time, an extremely powerful aura suddenly erupted from the surrounding sea area. Countless energy water columns that had been blessed by special powers spewed out, intersecting in the sky, vaguely forming a series of water cages. There are ancient and powerful restrictions all over the water cage, and you will die if you stick to it. This seems to be the powerhouse in front of him who is proficient in water attributes and has some special abilities. Is the water attribute powerful means? Xiao Yan's whole body was dominated by dragon scales and water attribute power, and there was a cold killing intent in his eyes. Ridiculous. Seeing Xiao Yan's random fabricated water attribute attack, the figure in grey slammed down with a palm, and suddenly bursts of low and dull humming sound came from this sky, countless water columns, and waves suddenly erupted into a monstrous attack. But no matter how dangerous the waves were, they could never cause any real harm to Xiao Yan, who, let's fight quickly. Considering the peculiar nature of the void here, Xiao Yan still decided to end this place with the power of thunder. As for what was waiting for him, it was not something he should be concerned about. Boom. The advent of the top immortal arts of the water attribute made the world faintly shattered, and even the life of the latter disappeared rapidly. 2 6-layer reincarnation level powerhouses, and a half-step 7th level reincarnation level powerhouse, paying such a heavy price, what is it for? After solving everything here, the door of light above the sky began to flicker, and an extremely violent space force seemed to be guiding Xiao Yan's direction. The soldiers will come to block the water and cover the soil. Just after finishing speaking, Xiao Yang's figure poured into it instantly. In a faraway place, a circle of gloomy auras emerged here. At this time, there were several strong men with decent strength gathered here. Some of them were covered in white halo, black halo, bull head, horseface, long tongue, and they looked weird. In front of everyone, there was a dark mouth of light, and in the light mouth, everything that happened around Xiao Yang was being reflected. Fu Jun. By doing this, we are undoubtedly declaring war with the Xiao clan. Once Xiao Yang knows about it, with the power of the Endless Flame Alliance, it is enough to attack and wash our entire world. Among the crowd, there are many people who are worried and anxious. I know. But when the Xiao clan was encircled and suppressed, it was an undeniable hatred. Do you really think this descendant of the Xiao clan will let us go? Xiao Yang's ambition is not small, and his threat is even more terrifying than those of the Xiao clan. If he really grows up, none of the people who encircled and suppressed the Xiao clan would be able to escape. The powerhouses of the ancient Tiangong have already made a perfect plan. If they can't succeed this time, I'm afraid it will be difficult to stop his growth in the future. The powerhouse known as Fujuan seems to be a terrifying existence in the world who really controls the right to speak, but now, as strong as he can only shake his head slightly, his expression is full of melancholy. Xiao clan, is it really dead? The gloomy figure in front of him relentlessly asked Yang Luo, you have crossed the line, these things are not what you should know, do your part. Hope so. At the beginning, Xiao Lingshan made a riot in the entire world with one person's power. The tragic scene is vivid in my mind. If Xiao Yang can't be solved, I am afraid the disaster will repeat itself. The gloomy figure spoke again, and the voice was filled with a frightening fear. Don't worry, this time he will die, and we still have a crucial bargaining chip in our hands, which is enough to protect the safety of our entire world. But, if we get to that step, the future situation may become even more bizarre. After the three gates of are closed, it is the end of hell. After that, in a deep stream of hell, a huge attic appeared in front of Xiao Yang. Above the attic, countless streets and stairs are covered with layers of dark brilliance. This kind of brilliance is different from the purity of the ordinary sun brilliance, and it is not as evil as the radiance of the devil. It is like a real executioner, maintaining everything here. Teacher, it was wrong for us to do this. Come on. As long as Xiao Lingshan's matter is explained clearly, I believe that Xiao Yang will not obliterate the world, otherwise. In the distant world, in a quiet pavilion, the woman's eyes were fixed on Xiao Yang in the mouth of the lake in front of her, and she said to the old lady in front of her, the world controls life and death. It seems that no one is more aware of the horrors of the Xiao clan than them. The scenes of Xiao Yang's life are clearly recorded in the world. Such decisive characters are more powerful than those of the Xiao clan in the past, is undoubtedly tricky countless times. With their strength, they can't resist the madness of this guy, even if their opponent in the entire world is only Xiao Yang. Gara, you are wrong. This battle is inevitable. He is not only declaring war with our world, but also declaring war with the entire powerhouse that is the enemy of the Xiao family. The old woman who was bathed in black robes in front of her shook her head, and a dazzling luster suddenly appeared in those dim eyes. Fujuan's approach is too extreme. Take out the imprint hidden in the fire of reincarnation. If things really reach the point of no redemption, perhaps only it can save the world from anger. In the voice, on the contrary, the demeanor of the supreme being who dominated everything in the world in the past was gone, and it was full of weakness. These two people are now the main and deputy realm masters in the center of the world, and they are the commanders of the earth. As promised, get out. After breaking through the three gates of and directly entering the end of hell, Xiao Yang's eyes were filled with anger to the extreme, and his eyes were only staring at the attic in front of him, and there was a very large and obscure aura in it. Even though Xiao Yang roared like this, there was no sound from the attic to respond to Xiao Yang, instead it seemed dead silent. Seeing this, Xiao Yang began to have dark green vines gushing out from his body, swallowing up without any waves, grabbing the gloomy power in the void around him and giving back to himself. After a while, Xiao Yang stepped on the devil's vine and slowly lifted into the air. It's just that all around this world, around the attic, are covered with countless spooky ghosts, white bones, and other objects. At first glance, there is a creepy sense of horror coming out of my mind. It seems that here is the real hell. The body was surging, and after a while, a huge gap appeared in the attic in front of Xiao Yang, and the figure jumped and stepped into it easily. As soon as he poured into it, he saw a huge round platform that was empty. On the round platform, there were countless terrifying auras. Swallow King. Even Xiao Yang had never seen the real spirit swallowing king, but the swallowing flame technique, which had been silent for a long time in his body, released this wave of discoloration, and he couldn't help but lose his voice in astonishment. Little guy, you shouldn't be here. On the round platform in front of him, an embarrassed man whose body was instantly pierced by countless pitch-black ribcage opened his mouth weakly. Are you the sinner Xiao Yang? At this time, on the edge of the huge round platform, a figure wearing a silver-white robe spoke. This kind of voice was very unfamiliar to Xiao Yang, but Xiao Yang could hear an extremely flat fluctuation from this simple sentence. It's flat and frightening, and the undisguised arrogance in it seems to be innate. This guy, is the female dog drinking water from this trip to hell? The latter moved gently, and the energy and elements of heaven and earth above the pavilion's round platform began to retreat little by little. The gloomy aura, the slightly surging spatial fluctuations, and countless forces instantly became quiet. Who are you? Xiao Yang glanced at the shackled and tortured soul-swallowing king, and couldn't help snorting coldly at the strange figure in front of him. The spirit-swallowing king is extremely powerful, but at this time, it seems that he is completely bound by some power, and his vitality is passing by rapidly. The relationship between the spirit-swallowing clan and the Xiao clan is unusual. This time, the latter must be successfully rescued no matter what. Who am I? Does it matter? You just need to know that here is the end of your life. The silver-white man glanced at the spirit-swallowing king silently. Xiao Yang noticed something, and his body suddenly moved in front of King-swallowing spirit, trying to protect him. But just after moving, I saw that he was bound at the feet of the spirit-swallowing king, and suddenly there was a very hidden gap. Looking down at the gap, an endless furnace slowly emerged. There is even a very illusory soul body in the middle of the furnace, and the high-altitude swallowing king, that is the soul of the swallowing king. His life has 10 minutes left. What will you choose? Seeing Xiao Yang, whose face became gloomy, the smile on the Son of Heaven's face became brighter and brighter. The Son of Heaven is not the same as the Son of Light, because this is the supreme title of their ancient heavenly palace. Only when the strength reaches the peak of the 7th reincarnation rank and obtains countless honors can one obtain such a supreme honor. Xiao Yang, I'm sorry. I wanted to be the first to go to the Endless Fire territory to inquire about the Xiao clan, but was arrested by the people of Gutian Palace on the way to the space passage. Looking at the Son of Heaven, who began to rise from countless ancient power fluctuations above the body in the distance, the old face of the spirit-swallowing king was suddenly filled with self-blame. He originally wanted to find the Xiao clan and contribute to the rescue of the Xiao clan together, but he fell into the trap of the desolate ancient heavenly palace. What is the relationship between the senior and my Xiao family? In Xiao Yang's eyes, some kind of madness began to flow out. The immortal Xiao Yuntian is this king's opposite-sex brother. The spirit and blood of King-swallowing spirit began to roll around, and the body of the soul under his feet was falling down little by little. Don't worry about me, this guy is the genius of the ancient Tiangong. It is worthwhile to exchange my life for his life. Seeing Xiao Yang motionless, the spirit-swallowing king couldn't help roaring, there is nothing to blame. Xiao clan's road to revenge starts from here. I don't need to exchange my life for my life. I will let these guys recall the endless fear that was once dominated by the powerful Xiao family. Finally, after saying these words, the power of Xiao Yang's whole body was instantly replaced by the endless radiance of holy flame, and his entire body instantly swooped down towards the ****** furnace below. The people of the Xiao family, after all, are too kind, and forged the ending of your fall, but... The crazy voice, along with the 3 beads that started to spin in the palm of the Son of Heaven, an extremely terrifying energy slowly poured out from the top of this piece of heaven and earth. Thunder, wood, water, 3 completely different energies, unexpectedly merged quietly at this time, a behemoth, entrenched in the sky in an instant. Xiao Yang, don't go down. Seeing Xiao Yang's resolute actions, King Spirit Swallowing felt warm in his heart, but after a while, Shenshuo's eyes suddenly shrank, and he hurriedly roared at Xiao Yang, who swept into the furnace world below. The prohibition of fire in the furnace world below is too powerful. even a fire attribute powerhouse of the level of the Swallowing King will feel a throbbing if he is involved in it. All of this is the secret conspiracy of the desolate ancient heavenly palace and that force. They used their lives to interfere with Xiao Yang, so they wanted to completely wipe out Xiao Yang here and suppress all hope of the Xiao clan's recovery. There must be some kind of ancient creature living in the furnace below. The forbidden power in the furnace not only devours one's own soul bit by bit, but also has some kind of magnificent ancient creature living in it, as if waiting for an opportunity. Hunt for your own food. The power of flame, weakened. Xiao Yang's whole body is not only levitated by holy flames, but also protected by profound soul power. However, as he descends faster, he can feel an almost deathly cold in the melting pot world around him. No matter how much he swoops and uses his fighting skills, it seems that he can't save the soul of the spirit Swallowing King at all. The distance between the two is still so far away. This melting pot world is as strange as a fantasy. The Son of Heaven walked slowly towards the position of the spirit Swallowing King. Countless energies of heaven and earth began to dissipate. Suddenly, a splendid sky appeared in the sky of this attic, and among them a ferocious giant tiger with a size of 10,000 meters appeared. Hanging in the sky, the whole body is radiant, and the energy is particularly harsh. Raising his head slightly, Xiao Yang was able to clearly sense the familiar fluctuations on the giant tiger's body. That's your own power. Grey thunder points, greenwood halos, clear water waves. Boom. In an instant, Xiao Yang was not hesitating, his body was surging, a dazzling light appeared in his palm, and his eyes were full of solemnity. The dazzling energy fluctuations, like countless dense stars gathered together and superimposed, almost filled the entire furnace world. Swipe it at will, and the terrifying attack that destroys the sky and destroys the earth instantly falls. The flames roared, the thunder ripped apart everything, the wood halo rolled, and the water waves swept through, crushing everything in the furnace. But such a terrifying attack was like an inconspicuous energy ripple that was easily swallowed by the furnace below. The pitch-black light ripples are like ripples suddenly rippling on the calm sea, and every surging is accompanied by a burst of unease. What's down here? Xiao Yang frowned, and almost all his attention was devoted to the furnace below. He used the power of the 4 attributes to launch the strongest attack, but he did not cause any damage to the furnace below. The brilliance of holy flame. As he spoke, the 7 holy flames in Xiao Yang's body seemed to have received some kind of guidance and summoned, and the steady stream of holy flames began to pour out, and they quickly converged in front of Xiao Yang. A dazzling spot of light that penetrated the entire world gently subdued Xiao Yang's palm. The fluctuations in it were terrifying. At the moment Xiao Yang gathered Saint Yang, the Son of Heaven let out a contemptuous smile, and the clouds above the sky where the giant tiger was entrenched began to surge, and a pair of giant claws that were pitch black as night were photographed in the air. He seems to be buying time for some creature in the furnace below. Dragon claw. Seeing the 3-color giant claws overwhelming the sky, Xiao Yang's eyes surged, and a golden giant claws collided out of thin air. Boom. The claws were as terrifying as mountains, and in just an instant, Xiao Yang's body was pushed towards the furnace below little by little. A more greedy and violent aura below actually slowly emerges, like an ancient creature that has been silent for countless reincarnations, and is recovering little by little. Buzz. At this time, the power of dominance in Xiao Yang's body, and the dragon blood of the Golden Dragon King in his body, at the same time burst out with an arrogant aura of who is fighting for the front. The source of this aura is the melting pot below. The radiance of the black furnace flew at random, and a creature so large that it almost filled the entire sky suddenly flew into the sky. Instantly lifted into the sky, swallowing the 3-color giant tiger above the sky, and a more surging breath emerged. It was as huge as a mountain, and it almost occupied the entire sky just as it poured out. It seems that since the moment the latter appeared, the gears of the entire world have begun to twist in a weird way, advancing little by little toward the abyss furnace of destruction. Throughout the ages, no one has ever been able to release it, and I would like to thank you for that. Looking at this scene, the giant energy shadow above the Son of Heaven's head suddenly surged, and there seemed to be some kind of Xeon creature that was slowly descending. That's demon. Demon dragon? Hell dragon. At this moment, the dark chains around King Spirit Swallowing erupted with unprecedented restlessness, and even above his heart, a real stun appeared. Even if he knew that the powerhouses in the ancient heavenly palace were endless, but he never imagined that they actually wanted to kill Xiao Yang with the ***** dragon. Hell demon dragon, this is the supreme existence that surpasses the entire ***** world. Its strength is undoubtedly the creature standing at the top of the pyramid of hell. Now, why do you still have the confidence to be my enemy? The Son of Heaven sneered like a truly demented lunatic. The strength of the Hell Demon Dragon is comparable to that of the real eightfold reincarnation rank, and it has immunity to the power of flames. In conjunction with his peak 7th reincarnation rank strength, even Xiao Yan, who possesses 7 kinds of holy flames and 4 kinds of attributes. And how to fight with yourself. The trip to ****** has long been a perfect plan. Xiao Yang did not respond, but jumped up and returned to the side of King Swallowing Spirit. I just wanted to rescue the Spirit Swallowing King, but keenly discovered that these chains seem to be tied to the soul body below, and the two must be destroyed together, otherwise, the latter will instantly be destroyed in an instant. Slightly looking up at the cloud world above, a roar resounding through the sky swept out, leaving Xiao Yang with fear from the bottom of his heart. Dragon, dormant at the foot of this seat, let's destroy this fellow together. The energy in the clouds in the sky is stirring rapidly, and the crazy voice of the Son of Heaven is extraordinarily magnificent, waving people's hearts. Hateful. 7 flames destroy the world. Looking at such a dangerous battle situation, even knowing that what he has done now is trivial, Xiao Yang still presses the 7-color lotus seed brood in the palm of his hand against the ***** dragon in the clouds above. Go, Guru. Watching the fusion of the 7 holy flames in front of him explode at will, the force that was enough to destroy everything actually only made a deafening sound of explosion in the clouds above. The clouds are looming, and you can vaguely see the ***** dragon hidden in it. The dark scales are covered with a very mysterious and complex black pattern. It seems that it was attacked by a slight energy fluctuation, and then there is no scar. Xiao Yang's throat rolled gently, his surprise was beyond word. As powerful as the holy flame of heaven and earth, the destruction after the fusion of the 7 flames can't actually be used on the ***** dragon. Can't cause substantial harm. The demon dragon of hell was loyal to one of the 9 dragon kings before his death, the endless flame dragon king. For countless years, it has followed the fire dragon king to fight in all directions, and has already obtained the true biography of the fire dragon king, and was later seduced by some sinister villains. After trying to usurp the throne, he was reluctantly hunted down by the fire dragon king, and finally escaped with a trace of breath, but he disappeared, and he was unexpectedly rescued by a powerhouse in the ***** world. The king of swallowing spirit looked up at the tumbling ***** demon dragon above the sky. The latter's body was constantly rolling on the clouds, and the heavy aura that rushed to his face made his heart feel depressed. It's on. Even if it is isolated by countless clouds, Xiao Yang's eyes are able to discover the body of the demon dragon. In addition to the incomparably thick black scales, there are scenes of strange power comparable to hell. Ghosts, shadows with gloomy power appeared. Countless strange breaths originating from the ***** world actually filled the body of the dragon, making its breath more and more terrifying. Evil. Even after being blessed by this kind of power, the mind of the ***** dragon has undergone earth-shaking changes. Tempered with the power of countless unreincarnated ghosts in the ***** world, his power has undergone a real qualitative change. These guys are really vicious. Now, even if they rely on the power of fire attributes alone, they can be considered saints. Yang, it can't cause too much substantial damage to him. The king of swallowing spirit shook his head. Naturally, he knew a lot about the obscure aspects of the ancient times, and his vicious eyesight could see through the real details of the latter at a glance. Xiao Yang did not respond to King Swallowing Spirit, his eyes stared at the Son of Heaven with a wilder smile and the demon dragon whose body was swaying at will. His body was derived from the noble bloodline of the Golden Dragon King, but he became restless uncontrollably. The blood is surging, and the Golden Dragon King's Xeon fluctuations are blooming little by little with a brilliant power, stirring the whole world like crazy sand. Under such power, the holy flames, demons and other powers in Xiao Yang's body quieted down for a while. The power that remained after the tempering of the Golden Dragon King's dragon blood. Xiao Yang, let's go. You are the last hope of the entire Xiao family. If you fall here, I will not be able to explain to Xiao Yuntian in the future. Here. I will intercept it for you. After a while, a halo suddenly appeared in the old face of the spirit swallowing king, and an extremely crazy wave appeared. Obviously, with the power of this eightfold reincarnation, even if it is completely bound, the energy fluctuations generated by the self-destruction are enough to make the Son of Heaven completely moved. However, The soul-swallowing king is the supreme king of the soul-swallowing clan. If this guy completely falls here, with the pedantic people in the clan, the status of the soul-swallowing clan will undoubtedly undergo huge changes, and even succumb to the center of the human world. The impossible thing. Senior, just look at it. This is my own battle. At this moment, Xiao Yang's eyes began to have a masculine anger rising. At this moment, Xiao Yang seemed to understand. It turned out that Huanggu Tiangong did not hesitate to sacrifice the lives of the 3 strong men, in order to obtain the 3 power attributes in his body, so as to better limit himself. The 3 attributes of water, thunder, and wood were imposed by the Son of Heaven by special means, and now they are all injected into the body of the ***** dragon, which itself has the power to be immune to holy flames. Today, the ***** dragon is full of 4 attributes. Today's Xiao Yang is almost invincible. Boom! Immediately, the clouds above the sky began to roll violently, and the huge body of the Hell Demon Dragon waved suddenly, and the energy of the entire heaven and earth seemed to be stirred up by it in an instant. After the dragon was rescued by the ***** World Master, it was only the last trace of its origin. Now it has been fused and tempered with many powers, and it seems to have turned into a strange beast that only knows how to kill, but like this, the whole body of the demon dragon above the sky was tense, as if it was under some kind of pressure from the blood and soul, and the body of the ***** demon dragon actually became trembling. It seems that this weak ant-like human body in front of him has some kind of powerful aura that makes him terrified. That kind of aura seems to go back a long time. That Xeon existence that is comparable to God's mansion. Dragon Clan Xeon, Golden Dragon King. Sure enough, it's a beast. Kill him for me. Looking at this scene, the madness in the eyes of the Son of Heaven weakened slightly, and immediately raised his palm. A dark pattern burned violently on the palm, and it was filled with a dark dragon. The Son of Heaven was naturally unaware of the horrific fluctuations that the Hell Demon Dragon could smell from Xiao Yang, and tried to control the latter directly with strong mien. In order to obliterate Xiao Yang with the help of the magic dragon, they paid such a high price for the ancient temple, and naturally they will not let it all go to waste. Dragon Training Talisman? Seeing this, the King of Swallowing Spirit couldn't help but turn pale with shock. For a time, the 3 major movements above the sky became quiet, and a dark beam of light descended from the sky, and the fierce aura contained in it, like a real executioner, quietly fell. The dark phantom swooped down, and the huge body seemed to cover the void outside the attic, and the whole world was filled with a dark turbidity. In the turbid chi, there is no evil fluctuations like foreign evil races or demonic chi, but it is filled with a fearless and strange aura. Boom! The eyes of the demon dragon of hell were filled with an unruly pitch-black color, and there was even a huge dragon in his eyes. The whole body seemed to be missing some kind of soul, just like a walking corpse. The latter are now being controlled. The 4 attributes are controlled. How can you fight against me now? This ***** demon building is your cemetery. In the eyes of the Son of Heaven, a wave of almost madness began to emerge. This battle can be solved perfectly without taking action on your own at all. The world only knows that Xiao Yang is extremely powerful, but how can he fight against the ***** demon dragon when he is so weak? When the demon dragon of hell was hunted down by the Fire Dragon King, its strength was only at the 6th reincarnation rank. Later, it was rescued by the Lord of Hell Realm, who secretly helped to repair the injury, and even spent countless resources in the Hell Realm. Now it has finally been taken away. Cultivated into a peerless monster that is comparable to the 8-fold reincarnation stage, this world will always only be in the hands of those who examine Dudu, and the pedantic and inexperienced will eventually be completely destroyed by the old era. What the Son of Heaven needs to do now is to wait. Just wait quietly. When the ***** demon dragon chops off Xiao Yang's head, absorbs all the blood essence in the latter's body, and returns Xiao Yang's corpse to the Endless Flame Alliance, his name will be resounding throughout the world. What Xiao Yang, what a descendant of the Xiao clan, in the end, is nothing but a complete idiot, a stepping stone to establish his own status and prestige. The thoughts in his mind became more and more crazy, and immediately the Son of Heaven's body slightly separated from this world, entrenched at the end of the world, and looked at the battle below with a smile on his face. The body of the ***** demon dragon tossed, unexpectedly stirring up countless destructive energy, and attacked Xiao Yang little by little. The latter's demon dragon eye was watching Xiao Yang closely, and there was an unruly arrogance in it. If the Hell Demon Dragon in the just recovered state still retains some characteristics of the dragon race in his body, then under the control of the Dragon Training Talisman, he is no different from a monster that only knows how to kill. The monstrous dragon's might on the dragon's body shook the whole world, as if the latter easily waved the monstrous dragon's claws, and could completely tear apart Xiao Yang's weak body, and even the latter's soul could be easily crushed. Ha ha ha. Xiao Yang, do you think you can fight us with the strength of your mere 4 attributes and many holy flames? To tell you the truth, even the power of the entire Endless Flame Alliance, in our eyes, is like an ant that is not worth mentioning. You don't know the rules of this world at all. At this time, the Son of Heaven is entrenched in the sky, like a true judge reading out the fruits of his victory. That kind of heartbroken smile is particularly annoying. Indeed, but I have my own way. Xiao Yang let out a small smile, the shadow of dominance surging around his body rapidly, and circles of golden energy ripples slowly seeped out from his skin and pores. The domineering power that shakes the heavens and the earth invisibly fills the eyes of the demon dragon of hell with a deep fear. Today's Xiao Yang knows that the power of the 4 attributes in his body and the holy flame cannot control this battle, and the only things that can play a key role are the 7th transformation of the dragon god, the ruler of the gods, and the power of the devil. The 7th transformation of the dragon god has been secretly cultivated when the endless fire realm has broken through to the quasi-7th reincarnation level, but it has never been successfully used. As for the execution ruler and the power of the devil, there are still powerhouses in the **** realm whose whereabouts are unknown. Xiao Yang will not use it unless he is forced to, because that is his last trump card. Kill me. During the speech, a slightly illusory dragon training talisman energy shadow appeared in the hands of the Son of Heaven. The latter raised it high, and the compulsive killing thought controlled the **** dragon, brewing little by little. Some kind of Xeon killer move. The body of the **** demon dragon poured into the clouds in the sky again, the thick colorless water attribute, the power of grey thunder and lightning, the lush wood breath, and even a ferocious and burning black magic fire, a little bit from the sky clouds. It turned out to be an even more violent destructive force. Immediately, a dazzling 4-color light descended from the sky above the clouds in the sky, carrying an extremely fierce oppression, which shocked Xiao Yang's soul. The power of the 4 attributes of light surged, as if the entire world and attic were stirred up, and scenes of magnificent energy continuously converged around the **** dragon. One after another, the energy soul mountains are completely reflected on the **** demon dragon. At this time, the latter seems to have become the medium of this destructive power. This blow, who can stop it? Submerge yourself in the tide of history, rustling. In the gloomy face of the Son of Heaven, a trace of contempt slowly emerged. All this has long been in their perfect plan, using the lives of the 3 powerhouses in the ancient heavenly palace to steal the 3 attribute energies in Xiao Yang's body, plus the Hell Demon Dragon's immunity to the holy flame, combined with several powerful powers. Under the ultimate blow, everything is destroyed. Even Xiao Yang, how can he resist? The Son of Heaven is certain that facing this kind of power that destroys the sky and the earth, even today's Xiao Yang can't handle it. You don't need to do it yourself at all. You can remove the last hidden danger of this Xiao family. After Xiao Yang's death, his prestige will resound throughout the world. The energy of heaven and earth is out of your control. The attack of the energy fusion of the 4 attributes of the **** dragon, even I am not fully sure. Are you really sure? The shackles of the chains around King Swallowing Soul did not weaken in any way, but just now he tried desperately to save Xiao Yang, but was shocked by the calmness on the latter's face. It's too quiet to be so peaceful. Looking at Xiao Yang, who was calm in front of him, there was always some inexplicable fear in King Swallowing King's heart. It seems that this little guy has some power in his body that is enough to attract attention. The hatred of the ancestors of the Xiao family will be taken from him. Xiao Yang sneered. There was no emotion in his voice. Instead, the golden light all over his body suddenly flourished, and a dazzling golden halo instantly paved his body. At this moment, the demon blood in Xiao Yang's body, the blood of the Xiao family, was instantly forced back to the deepest part of the body. A pool of noble golden blood filled Xiao Yang's limbs little by little. At the moment when the power of this blood was filled, behind Xiao Yang was actually a golden shadow, slowly dormant. At the same time, the dragon god transformation within the body was instantly cast out by Xiao Yang. The dragon god transformation from the first transformation to the 5th transformation was completed in almost an instant. The terrifying power of the Dragon King, coupled with the golden light, now Xiao Yang seems to have become a half-dragon and half-human existence. Dragon god transformation, 6th transformation. Dragon god fury. With a low roar again, countless golden rays of light seemed to be called by some kind of call, directly entrenched beside Xiao Yang, and faintly gushed out a superpower that surpassed this whirl. This is the supreme law of the dragon family, dragon god transformation. Seeing Xiao Yang Shuai, the son of heaven and the king of swallowing spirit, shrank violently in the sky, and they lost their voices at the same time. Good boy. It's actually hidden so deeply. I want to see how much blood of the Xiao family has been inherited by your descendants. The king of swallowing spirit protected his mind and focused on the terrifying confrontation on the field. Dragon God. 7th transformation. Holy dragon worship. The high-pitched dragon roar shook the sky, and a golden dragon shadow with a body exceeding 10,000 feet instantly appeared behind Xiao Yang. After the golden dragon shadow, there are even several magnificent dragon shadows such as silver dragon shadows appearing. Even if this kind of body is just a phantom of a dragon, the aura that shakes the world still makes the whole ***** world rippling. Xiao Yang, a descendant of the Xiao clan, why did he learn the tricks of the dragon clan? 9. Shadows of the 9 Dragon Kings? Boom. Before the Son of Heaven's terrified voice could fall, Xiao Yang's body, under the support of the 9 dragon shadows, stepped forward, completely pouring into the sky and into the clouds in the sky. For a time, the whole world shook, and the overwhelming destructive energy turned out to be continuously spreading from the clouds. Such a violent energy factor made people feel dazed. Bang! A sudden sound rang out from the clouds, and immediately a behemoth gushed out of it. Ha ha ha. Xiao Yang. Looking at this scene, the face of the Son of Heaven burst into a sneering voice. Even if Xiao Yang cultivated the Dragon Clan secret technique, how could he break through the shackles and traps he carefully set up for him? Desolate ancient heaven palace. Son of Heaven, it's too early to be happy. The black giant dragon, with its claws like a mountain, was pulled out of the clouds in an instant, releasing a hot wave, smashing directly at the Son of Heaven who was close at hand. With that fierce fluctuation, I am afraid that even an ordinary 7-layer reincarnation level peak powerhouse will be seriously injured in an instant. And at this time, the gigantic dragon eyes of the Hell Demon Dragon were full of anger, and above his head stood a magnificent figure with golden luster all over his body. That is Xiao Yang. This video will end here.